In 2013, police in central Indiana closed a rather unusual file. On paper, it was categorized as a standard case of employment fraud, an unsolved incident involving a middle school substitute teacher who didn't actually exist. The paperwork she submitted looked flawless at first glance, but a retroactive check revealed gaping holes. Her listed phone number led to a disconnected line, and her home address pointed to a vacant lot. Even the teaching credential submitted with her application was fabricated. When investigators finally traced the license number, they found it belonged to a teacher in an entirely different state who had no idea his information was being used. But because no money went missing and no students were physically harmed, the local administration didn't dig any deeper. The system processed the event as a victimless administrative glitch and closed the file, which leaves a glaring logical gap. Committing federal identity fraud carries massive legal risks, yet the only reward in this case was spending 2 weeks teaching 7th grade English. Whoever this woman was, she successfully navigated a gauntlet of standard operating procedures. She bypassed the substitute agency's vetting, cleared state background checks, and provided references that actually answered the phone when the front office called. The police report hit a dead end almost immediately. The only real evidence left behind exists in the memories of 3 former students, interviewed years apart, who independently recalled what happened inside that classroom. These background checks and forged credentials did exactly what they were designed to do. They provided a bureaucratic trail that satisfied the system, effectively replacing a person with a ghost. According to those students, the woman known as Miss Adler spent her first few days as an exceptionally competent substitute. She was organized and engaging, easily holding the attention of a room full of distracted 12-year-olds. The first oddity happened during a routine icebreaker. When a girl mentioned wanting to be a veterinarian, Miss Adler paused. The student later described it as a moment of calculation, as if the teacher was deciding right then whether or not to say something else. A few days later, during silent reading, she stopped beside a boy's desk, looked at a worn paperback he had brought from home, and told him he wouldn't finish it that year. He assumed she meant he was reading too slowly. 3 weeks later, a fire destroyed his family's garage and a portion of their home, taking that specific book with it. At the time, the students rationalized these moments as normal adult eccentricity. That inherent trust allowed her to remain hidden in plain sight. The shift occurred on the Friday of her second week. 20 minutes before the final bell, Ms. Adler abruptly halted the lesson and asked the class to listen carefully. She then began to list private, unshared facts about a third of the students in the room. She had known these children for barely 10 days, yet she possessed information she had no plausible way of acquiring. This diagram represents those unshared secrets as isolated notes. Miss Adler addressed a boy's unspoken fear of a looming divorce, a girl's private hope of making the volleyball team, and a specific lie another boy had told his grandmother, when he swore he had never mentioned to a single living soul. She delivered these observations in a gentle, unhurried voice. She framed the secrets not as accusations, but as reassurance, telling the girl that her effort on the court mattered regardless of the outcome. No one was threatened and no one was hurt. For the students, the horror resided entirely in the impossibility of what she knew. Before she left, the students recalled her pausing at the door to make a final statement. She told them she didn't choose her classes, that she was assigned by someone else to the rooms that needed her. She dismissed the class 3 minutes early. By the time anyone heard enough secondhand detail from the students to investigate, Miss Adler was gone from the building. When confronted with the incident, the school district did what institutions do. They updated their verification procedures, added an extra database check, and filed the event away as a need for process improvement. It is an institutional defense mechanism. By reducing an anomaly to a fixable HR glitch, the system maintains the illusion of control. Today, those former students describe a recurring unease, a sense that they have since crossed paths with temporary authority figures who seem for a fleeting moment to know something they shouldn't. They describe the sensation as the specific, disorienting recognition of being seen by something that had once, briefly, chosen to be kind about what it saw. The bureaucratic systems we rely on to vet our world perform perfectly when measuring human deceit. They are designed to document fraud, but they remain blind to things that refuse to play by our rules.